JF Stretford, Paddock, and this is the big one. It's the Manchester Derby preview, and this is sponsored by Betfred. So check out the link in the description. We're picking our punts. You can get to that a little bit later on. Joining me today are Joe Smith.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Nervous. Big game, this one, isn't it? Big game.
And also Adam McKola. Macca, how are we doing? You nervous?
Yeah, I'm all good, man. I'm all good. I am nervous, but then remember, this could have been the day we saw Ronaldo arrive at Old Trafford in Manchester City blue. So when you think of that, everything just fine, isn't it?
Great point. Well made. It could have been awful. It's not been much better than awful, to be honest with you, recently in the league. But at least Ronaldo's not in a City kit, so small mercies. We're going to be talking about Bruno Fernandes. We're also going to be having a bit of a Jadon Sancho debate. I know you two, Joe and Macca, love having a debate, so you'll be debating Jadon Sancho. First of all, though, on Bruno Fernandes, we've heard from Paul Parker. Now, Paul Parker, Manchester United former fullback, one of the ones that helped end the 26-year wait for the Premier League title. I remember it well. He says that Bruno Fernandes has had to adapt his game to play alongside Cristiano Ronaldo for his club. Here's what he had to say.
The main player for me is Fernandes. I think he's been manipulated by Ronaldo's return. I think that's affected him. I think he's allowed himself to be mentally bullied out of doing all the good things he was doing before. He shirked responsibility in the Leicester game, when he would have took it on himself normally, but he decided to take the pass to Ronaldo. He's not grabbing older games as he did before. He's not making opportunities anymore. And you have to look at him and think to yourself, why is that? And there's only one reason. It's because he feels he's got to deliver to Ronaldo. And I think there's a few other players like that as well. But he sticks out because he's been instrumental in all that United have achieved up until this season.
So that's what Paul Parker said. Joe, do you agree with that? Do you think Bruno has had to adapt a little bit from how he was playing before Ronaldo arrived to now?
I do think he has, but I don't know if I can't really tell if Paul thinks that's a problem or if he's saying it like, is that to adapt? Because for me, I don't think it is a problem.
No.
I think Ronaldo comes in, you have to adapt how you're playing. But you look at his assists this season, his assists, I think, his per game has doubled over last season, and his goals have pretty much halved. So he has adapted his game. I think statistically we can see that. But I don't think that's an issue. Things funnel through Cristiano Ronaldo when he plays, and if Bruno can up that side of his game, the pass the other day against Tottenham was ludicrous by Bruno Fernandes. And not that he wasn't doing that last season, but if we're getting that side of him more often, that really isn't a problem for me whatsoever.
That's almost like one of the few players who can do that pass and one of the few players who can score that goal.
Yeah, in the world.
Yeah.
That's why you fill your team with good players. I know, talk about individual brilliance, but if you have players that can do that, you'll win games more often than you will if you don't have players like that. And, Cristiano Ronaldo is worth, I think, Bruno adapting his game because he is still so good at creating. I don't think there's a problem. I saw a stat today that Bruno's been involved in more goals than anyone in the Premier League since he arrived at United. And if he's just going to get more assists instead now, there's absolutely no problem there for me.
Macca, where do you stand on it? Do you think we have seen a bit of a change in Bruno?
I've noticed that, yeah. He's become more of a facilitator, someone that's looking to create for Ronaldo, who's now the main match winner. Whereas Bruno was the main match winner before, or at least looked at himself like that. And I think that's good to see. I think Bruno, 99.9% of his time at Man United has been amazing. So when I say this, I'm not saying it as a huge criticism. But one of the things that has frustrated you at times is when Bruno Fernandes is clearly taking all of the responsibility and he starts to make crazy decisions because of it, whether it's shooting from 40 yards and just blasting it over when we're in attack, or little moments like that. We've all seen them with Bruno Fernandes, and like I said, there are not many of them. But when he's now playing in this way, you feel like it's a little bit more, he's not taking all the pressure on himself. He's looking to, and he realizes Cristiano Ronaldo is someone that he needs to graft for more. Maybe a few of the other players haven't quite noticed that yet or grasped that. But yeah, I haven't seen a problem with it. And I do agree with it. I think he's become more of a playmaker, more of a facilitator, but he's still going to get goals. When you look at the run he made into the box against Atalanta in the week, on another day he goes and tucks that in, but he's got the foresight and the vision and the application to pass it to Ronaldo. So I don't think it's a bad thing. And I don't think, Paul's particularly saying it's a bad thing either, but I have noticed that change in him as well. I don't think it will make a massive difference because Cristiano Ronaldo will be getting more goals. Maybe Bruno Fernandes suffers a bit in that he don't get 10 more goals, but he'll probably get 10 more assists, so can't complain.
No, I agree. I don't think the issue is Bruno and Ronaldo not sort of clicking. I think some of the other players, maybe the team as a whole, hasn't quite adapted to completely to Ronaldo's strengths. I know that sounds crazy because he's scoring so many goals, but I still think there's a long way to go. Moving on to a player who hasn't featured nearly as much as Bruno Fernandes since he arrived, and that's Jadon Sancho. He was sort of, we were linked with him for so long. He was meant to be our marquee signing. He kind of was until Ronaldo arrived. Hasn't really had the game time this season so far, especially in the Premier League. He's not played a full game in the Premier League. Joe, I'll start with you. Do you feel like Jadon Sancho's been hard done by? The fact that he's come in, big price tag, everyone thought this is going to be, sort of the main man, and he's featured, but not enough, or not as much as he'd like to.
Yeah, I agree. First of all, I want to say I agree that he hasn't featured as much as I would like. And I'm not sitting here going, I don't know what you're on about, he shouldn't be playing.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, he hasn't been quite at the level we hoped he would be yet. The annoying thing with me around this debate to a certain extent is the fact that we're sort of having to have it, and everyone's having it. You see Gary Neville talking about it a few days ago, saying how he could go the same way as Donny. We're like 12 games into the season, 10 games into the season in the league. But the problem is Jadon Sancho hasn't performed to a level where Ollie is where he is now. He has his back to the wall. He has to pick his known quantities. He has to pick the players who he knows what he's getting out of. Ronaldo, you know what you're getting. Bruno, you know what you're getting. As much as it pains us all to say it, Fred and McTominay, generally, you know what you're getting out of them. Jadon Sancho is still an unknown quantity. So when his job's on the line and when he has to win games and when he has to look defensively sound, I can understand why Ollie is going for the players that he knows what they will do. Rashford is the perfect example of that. He's Ollie's man because you know what you're getting out of Rashford.
Yeah.
He'll run for the whole game. He'll get in behind. He'll test them with their pace, and he's great on the counter-attack. We're still learning how Sancho fits into this team. And I think while the results are so high pressure, which is, the manager's fault, I'm not putting that on Sancho, but I can see why he's not quite getting the minutes we would all like at the minute, because Ole has to kind of he has to play it a little bit safe, as much as it pains me to say it.
Maka, where do you stand on Jadon Sancho? Do you think we should have seen more of him so far this season?
Oh, 100%. I'm not worried, and I think a lot of the criticism about Jadon Sancho is forced. Like, when you see stuff, people saying, he's a flop and this, that, and the other. I think most of that is forced. He will have a great career at Manchester United because he's a fantastic player. But I think it's been a massive oversight not using him. And I think that's Ollie's task, is to get players like Jadon Sancho firing in this team and working within this team. In my opinion, until we get him in this team, Man United aren't going to be the best that we need to be, because Jadon Sancho is one of our best players. We need our best players on the pitch. And it's not just getting all of your best players on the pitch. We've been crying out for a winger. When we play with a front three, Greenwood, excellent balling against Atlanta midweek, doesn't do it enough though. Often cuts in, looking to shoot, whereas Jadon Sancho's looking to create, looking to pass, looking to move, looking to bring others into the game. I think Rashford and Sancho gives us great balance, regardless of who you play through the middle. I kind of get tired of people saying that we didn't need Jadon Sancho. We really do need Jadon Sancho, and I want to see him in the team. It's part of the reason I want us to go away from this 3-4-1-2. You could play it with a 3-4-3 and still play Jadon, but then you're missing out on Bruno Fernandes. So that's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job, and I think he's taking the easy option at the moment. Going safe, and maybe results have said we have to do that. But before results went bad, we weren't playing Jadon Sancho, and you can say, oh yeah, we know what McTominay and Fred do. Yeah, we know what they do. It isn't great. We know what all these other players do. It's not great. Jadon Sancho's quality. But I think we've bought him expecting him to be a quick run-at-people winger, and he's not. If you're going to get the best out of Jadon Sancho, you need patterns of play. You need players coming close to him. You need players giving him options, triangles, so he can play those 1-2s, so he can dribble. And we're not doing it. So I can see why he's not in the team, because we've not got used to the way he plays yet. And it's a pressurised time. But trust me, he should have been in the team from the start of the season. And then you've probably got a settled Jadon Sancho now, who's creating and providing for you.
He was in the team at the start of the season, though, wasn't he? He did, like most of his games. He's played 7 games in the league.
How can someone get to know players that are around them. And you do this with Donny van der Beek. You pull out stats, and it's
Here we
like,
go. All right,
it's like, no, it's true though. You go, he's played 7 games in the league, bro. It doesn't tell the whole story. He's not played enough. He needs to play more. And I'm not getting carried away saying, I'm worried for him here but our team is better with Jadon Sancho in it, and the more that we play without him, it's just baffling to me because we've been crying out for this player for 2 years. For 2 years, we've been crying out for him, and now we got him. We don't know what to do with him. It's a bit weird to me.
2 points there. One of them I absolutely agree with. This whole narrative about we didn't need a winger, we needed a defensive midfielder. We needed both. And anyone who was talking over the summer pretty much agreed we need a right winger as much as we need anything else because we don't have any. So I completely agree with you on that. I don't understand why people are now, 10 games into the season going, we didn't even need a right winger. We absolutely did need a right winger. The only thing I disagree with you on, I don't like how, and again, Neville did this the other day, how Sancho and Donny are being compared as though their treatment has been the same. And we've talked about Van der Beek last week, and we differ on.
No, I was on about what you just said there. Like Sancho, you went, he's played 7 games in the league, but it don't tell the whole story.
No, it doesn't tell the whole story. Obviously, playing 7 games doesn't tell the whole story.
And people do that with Donny, and that's why it frustrates me because people go, "Oh, Donny's played this many games," and it's like, bruv, that's not telling the whole story.
Donny's been here.
No, I know. I wasn't comparing the situations. I was comparing you speaking about the situation.
But therefore, by virtue that you are comparing the situations, and maybe you're not, but by mentioning them both at the same time, it continues the fact that a lot of people are saying, "Look at Sancho, he's going to end up like Van der Beek."
But that's part of the problem as well. Donny should be not in the team every week, but he should be part of this team. And Ollie not using him is worrying to me because it shows you that he hasn't been able to work with these players on the training ground to get something out of them. And we know these boys are talented. And Donny van der Beek as well. He's not stunk to play. Like, people keep saying, he's never taken his chances. But then you see some of the options that play for us. Like, please, just give me a midfielder that can pass. Give me a winger that can create. Jadon Sancho is one of the best wingers about, and we just don't use him. It's just baffling to me.
On the Sancho front, you both sort of alluded to a similar thing here, and it's that almost that Ollie's backed himself into this corner now with the results we've got and the systems he's played. For you, Macca, would you use Jadon Sancho to help get us out of this mess that we're in? If you can say a mess with 17 points, whatever it is in the league, would you be starting Jadon Sancho, for example, against City? Would you be saying, right, this is a player who can win us games, who can get us out?
No way Ollie starts him against City.
No, but would you think he should though? That's my point. Do you think
I would have been playing him right now to go into this game cold? No, like he had 5 minutes against Atlanta, and he had what the other day. But I would have been playing him all season so that he's ready for this game.
Do you think he's in like now? This is Ollie in a bit of a sort of bind with when it comes to Jadon Sancho.
We've seen this, and it would be a criticism I have of him. He does back himself into corners where he plays it safe, but sometimes he's had to do that. And so far, when he's been in these corners, excuse me, he's managed to roll with the punches enough to get out of them.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't the first sticky situation Ollie's been in at United. This is maybe third, fourth one where you go, this could be it for him. Couple bad results, this could be it. And he's still here. So history shows that he's done at least enough to keep his job, which obviously isn't the overall ambition of Man United. It's not about the manager surviving. It's about building towards winning trophies. But you can see why he's doing it. The only thing is, at some point, Jadon Sancho, like we all agree, is too good to be sat on the bench for United. But I don't think it will be a problem long term. I think he will prove it. I think he has already proven it that he's going to be a starter going forward.
With all that being said, this is sponsored by Betfred. Now, I'm not going to ask for your team. You've also got a punt as well. We're doing your pick your punt. There's a link in the description where you can do your own like little bet builder there.
Mine's honestly so good, you know.
Right, so what are you going to go with first? You're going to give us your punt or your team?
I'll go with the team.
Give us your team and then show us the punt that you've done.
So for my team, I'm going David De Gea, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I'm going with the back five because I think
this is predicted, by the way. Predicted 11.
Maybe the Varane injury will have to change it, but I think it's pretty clear Ollie wanted to do the back five for at least this full week.
Okay.
So I've gone De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, and Bailly. Lindelof, Maguire, and Bailly. I'm assuming Lindelof will be back.
Yep.
It looked like it wasn't a particularly severe injury. If we're playing a back three, as much as I'd like to see Maguire rested, I think he's still a better option than Phil Jones.
Let's not descend into to silliness.
And Eric Bailly, assuming he's not just fitness as in injuries, but he's fit enough because he's not played much to play 2 games in a week. Hopefully he'll be playing because he was excellent the other day. Luke Shaw on the left. Then I've gone with Fred and McTominay. Again, you can sort of set your watch to him at this point. Big games, Ollie plays Fred and McTominay. Then Bruno in front of him. Then I've gone with Cavani and Ronaldo up front, same as we saw against Tottenham. I think Cavani coming on again against Atalanta, he just shows his quality, doesn't he? He's just in the right place all the time. I think he works well with Ronaldo. I think he sort of is his legs on that back line, and he's just got a bit more nous about him than Rashford has, who again still coming back from injury, and then maybe bring him into the team.
Go on then, talk us through your bet that you've got for
my
us.
pick your punt.
Go on.
And you can get these on the Betfred website, by the way. You can pick our bets.
Yeah, if you want to.
Mine is honestly sensational.
Well, we'll see about that.
So we've got Ronaldo to score anytime, over 2.5 goals, because I think United are going to concede, and I think we'll score a couple as well.
Yeah.
And then I've got Maguire to get booked.
Yeah.
Feels like a certainty with the amount of play that's going to be going down that side, and Luke Shaw to get booked.
I just hope that booking, or either of those bookings, if they happen, aren't like in the first 5 minutes. It's going to be a long
and then
afternoon.
aren't followed by a second booking.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's 25-1 on that, which is great.
Right, okay. Let Ronaldo to score. Yeah, we can see that one over 2.5 goals. Maguire to get booked and Shaw to get booked. That's Joe's pick your punt. Check it out. Maka, talk us through your team. Do you agree with Joe? Have you gone something a little bit different? This is your predicted 11.
Yeah, I agree a lot with him. And it is unfortunate because you hear. It's like when you read our bench, you just go, "What could be? What could be?" David De Gea in goal. The back three is going to go with 3 centre backs again. It's weird because you could go with Luke Shaw as the left centre back if you didn't have enough centre backs, which is something that is done before. But I do think it'll be Lindelof, Maguire, and Bailly. We need to hold Maguire accountable for his performances at some point, but unfortunately we can't do that right now. Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka, McFred, as usual. They're usually good for a performance in these games at the Etihad, maybe more so. But McTominay scored against them last time at Old Trafford, so here's hoping. Then you got Bruno. Again, this is a game where I'd like to see us go with, Rashford and Sancho and maybe a Lingard in there, but to get the pace on the break. But it's going to be Cavani and Ronaldo.
Yes, that's a rarity, but that shows where we're at. The fact that you've both gone with a back five,
and I know
centre backs.
He would have been desperate to not pick the same team as me as well.
No, I know, but you have to be realistic.
Like you said,
when you look at some of the players we've got, I mean, you look at when we've played well against City before, and it's been, Rashford and Lingard and Marshall running at him, and this is very, very different.
It's weird as well because even Dan James, I know not got him anymore, obviously, but he used to have a right game against City.
Yeah.
They used to struggle on the counter against, like you say, Rashford, Marshall, and Dan James always seem to play well, and Lingard as well. Maka, talk us through your pick, your punt. What have you gone for?
So I've gone for Cavani to score.
Yeah.
Over 2.5 goals, and McFred to get booked. That's both of them.
I think for the sake of the website, it is separated out.
Yeah, it's meant somebody to get booked and Fred to get booked. Yeah. If one of them gets booked, the other one don't get booked as well. It's not automatic.
They're not like conjoined twins.
The referee calls them both over. Come here, lads. Fred's done a foul.
You should, though.
McTominay, you both get
That's
booked.
how Ollie picks them.
yeah.
It's like the Cramp twins over there. Come on.
Like cat dog, just both ends of the same.
He just writes McFred on the lineup board. Going back to my team's very similar to your two, but not the same. So, in the to just be brief, it's basically I've got Matic in for McTominay. Now you might say why McFred always play in the derby, and I'll explain myself. I feel like McTominay's been very up and down this season, very up and down. He doesn't look 100% for me. I'd argue that he's having one of probably his worst seasons so far for Manchester United. I know he, was getting sort of lauded after his performance against Spurs, but I just feel like he's going to need rest. I don't feel like he can play him week in, week out because certain games, he's just falling off a cliff. So I'm just wondering whether Freddie's full of energy and can play every game if you want him to, and also, he has been rested. I just wonder whether Ollie's going to look at it and go, even though, like Maka said, McTominay obviously scored against City, he usually does turn up against City, just his form consistently hasn't been good enough, whether he brings in Matic for that experience. And I also remember as well, Matic in the Carabao Cup, when we were playing City at home, we were awful. Matic came on and he just took control of the midfield. He just had that maturity, just that ability to get his foot on the ball, just to calm things down a little bit. We might need someone like that. Somebody's not that guy. Matic is. So even though McFred is pretty much his go-to sort of midfield, I just wonder, maybe he might just veer towards Matic because of the reasons I've mentioned. But other than that, yeah, Ronaldo and Cavani up top and the back five that you've said, and Bruno, he picks himself, doesn't he?
You know what's mad, Jay? You say there, and you're right, he got lauded after Spurs,
Yeah.
He wasn't even that good. It's like, the geezer gets praised for doing the most bang average things, and it's like, Donny van der Beek comes in, looks good, and it's like, oh, well, you know, didn't make it. It's like, bruv, what?
Yeah,
The standards down here for him, man. Then everyone else's standards will have to be up.
I wonder with the
Spurs game, because I said myself after that, I was surprised that Ollie singled him out, because he wasn't my man of the match, and he singled him out, and especially when he said he's miles above everyone else. I thought, well, he wasn't. I just wonder whether Ollie knows he's not playing well and felt like I've got to give him a bit of a pat on the back and say, well done, son.
This isn't Make-A-Wish, you know.
I know, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. No, it isn't, but you know, I just feel like that was why he said it, because I don't feel like Ollie can have watched that game and thought McTominay's miles better than anyone else. Maybe he did. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, for me, I just feel Matic, for the reasons I've mentioned, is a better option, or at least Ollie will see it as a better option. For my pick your pun, I've gone with, now this might not make any sense because you think, well, why have you gone with Rashford to score any time if you've not picked him? I think Marcus Rashford will feature.
Definitely.
100%. He will. And he might come on when everyone's knackered. And Marcus Rashford, with his pace, his record against Manchester City, he'll be up for it. So I fancy, that's why I've gone any time, him to come on and grab us a goal. I've got each team over 4.5 corners. I expect there'll be loads of corners, and we won't score for any of them because we don't. Both teams to score because we don't really get clean sheets, do we? We had one against Spurs, but that was a complete anomaly. And United to win, because I cannot go into this game thinking or believing or expecting anything other than United.
I like that.
Right, moving on to the opposition. Obviously, Manchester City, you've been in okay form in the league. They've lost a couple of games. Obviously, had a bad result against Crystal Palace. Got themselves back together for the Champions League with a big one over at Club Brugge as well. They will be pretty much at full strength for this team. I know for this game. Sorry, I know that they're missing Ferran Torres for injury. Laporte is suspended, and Mendy's in jail. But they are pretty strong. So we're going to be speaking to a Manchester City fan, Boothie. Here's what he had to say about the Blues.
It's one of those where obviously City have had a bit of a rocky few weeks. Obviously a good result in the Champions League. It was only Bruges, obviously, but a couple of poor performances in the League Cup, for example. But obviously looking across the road and looking at you lads and thinking, I don't know what's going on at Manchester United. So if we play our way, I'm looking forward to the game, no question about it.
Does that make, you know, with these games, I know there's the old cliche, form goes out the window and that. But are you looking at this like we can go and do what Liverpool did there? Or are you nervous of they're just going to perform like they're going to perform against us? Because we've shown against City that occasionally, regardless of our form going into the game, we pull out a performance.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think the season where we were Centurions, we would have won the Premier League the earliest ever. I think in English football top flight history, if we'd beaten you on the day that obviously you beat us 3-2 at the Etihad. I'm sure you remember that quite well. Obviously, Pogba had his blue hair and all that. And I thought that season you did pretty well. You got 81 points, came second. Mourinho said it's one of his greatest achievements. I thought you were a functional side, but I thought actually you weren't anywhere near our level, and we were unplayable that season. I think it's the greatest single season in the history of English football, in my opinion, of how a team's played, in my opinion. Obviously, you'll talk about the treble winning side in other competitions, but ultimately you still beat us then. You know, you beat us then. So if that Centurion side loses to an average Mourinho United side at home, then anything can happen in a derby.
Dreading asking you this with your smug face. What's your score prediction?
If we play our way, it's gonna be 4-0. 4-0.
Bloody hell. Now I reckon, you know what? I got a weird feeling we're gonna win, and I'm gonna wish I was sat next to you on the kickoff. Although sitting in Old Trafford in the Stretford end's not a bad alternative, but
it's not bad,
you know what I mean. I got a feeling we're gonna win.
I don't know. If we lose, it's right up there with some of the most embarrassing derby losses ever, because you're so poor.
But the quality of our 11, like worst worse United squads have beaten better City teams. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but with better managers, and it shows you how important Ferguson was, for example.
Well,
Only
Ollie's
Ferguson,
also
really.
Ollie's record against Pep is very good.
So thanks to Buvit for coming on the channel. Obviously, he's got his thoughts on the game. I'm expecting us to have slightly different ones. With that in mind, give us your score predictions, Joe.
I can't see United keeping a clean sheet. I think it's going to be pretty high scoring. We've actually seen some quite high scoring games between United and City recently. City conceding more goals than usual, not quite the defensive force they have been in recent seasons. I'm going to go 3-2 United. I fancy us. I fancy us to get a win. I fancy us to bounce back, and I think there's going to be goals in it. 3-2.
I love that. Snap your hand off right now for any form of victory. Maka, do you share Joe's confidence?
I'm not confident, but I've got, because I'm worried about the game itself.
Yeah.
But I have got a sneaky feeling we're going to win.
Yes.
When I was watching them in the Champions League, I was thinking, please win this game, because they've not done well recently. You don't want them to come into this game with a defeat fresh in their mind. You want them to come in with a little bit of an easy win. So they're cruising into this one, thinking it's going to be easy. Yeah. McFred's going to do him.
Yes.
2-1.
I'm
I'm worried because I'm going for a win as well. I'll go. Well, you've gone 3-2. You've gone 2-1. We ain't going to clean sheet, so I'll go 4-3. There you go. To Manchester United. Why not? Hey, done it before. Michael Owen, do you remember? Yeah, it's going to happen again. Who knows? Get involved in the comments. Let us know your score predictions. Let us know what you think about this game as well. And don't forget to check out the link in the description for the Betfred app. You can pick your own punt there, or you can go with one of ours. You can go with Macca's. You can go with Joe's. You can go with mine.
Go with mine. Mine's best.
Whatevs.
Pick who you think is best.
Yes. So thank you to Betfred for sponsoring the show. Macca, where can people find you? What you up to?
I'm on Stretford Paddock every day. They haven't released me yet.
And you're never getting released. Ever. Yeah, so you know where to find him. Joe, where can people find you?
Joe Smith93 on Instagram and Twitter, please.
Yeah. Thanks to Boovy as well for coming on the channel. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. Let's get to 700,000 subscribers by the end of the season. This has been the Manchester Derby preview. Thanks for watching.